I have 3 cool bits of news today regarding production, packaging, and Patron rewards. Since I started selling boards to go along with my home automation projects, one of the biggest problems I've had is keeping stuff in stock. And I'm constantly aware of it because of this screen right up here. This is my computer where I normally sit, and just here you can see a couple of columns. One of them shows items that are getting low in stock for SuperHouse, and the other one is for Freetronics. And there's a whole lot of red on there. That means that there's stuff that just isn't in stock at all. The orange background means that it's getting dangerously low. And there's a lot of red and orange. The main problem I've had is that all the boards I've been doing for SuperHouse so far, I've been personally assembling, which means I've got to get out a few PCBs, sit here at the bench with the solder paste and the tweezers, put everything on, run it through the reflow oven, and then put it in bags. I've got to test it. So it's really laborious. The big advantage of doing that is that it means that I can put together just a few boards at a time. So the incremental cost to me of producing stock is low because I don't have a lot of cash reserves. I can't afford to put a lot of money into a large production run and then have stock sit. So it means that I can do things like assemble 10 boards at a time and put them on the shelf. And I'm not having to fork out too much to produce like thousands of boards at a time and then have big inventory costs. But that's been a real time burden. It means that I spend a whole lot of time every week just sitting here assembling boards, and it's really sucking up my time and preventing me from doing other things like making YouTube videos. So I've just made a change that is going to help improve that. What I've done is engage the same factories as I use for Freetronics products and got them to start making some of the SuperHouse boards. And the first ones are just listed now in the SuperHouse online store. And that means that I've had to pay many thousands of dollars up front to have larger quantities produced, which means that I'm in that stock situation now where I have hundreds of fully assembled boards all packaged up. So I can't do that for all products immediately. It would just cost me too much. But over time, what I'm going to do is take more of the products that I produce for SuperHouse and switch them over to being produced by the Freetronics factories. And that means that I should have much fewer problems with stock. Far fewer problems. I'll be able to keep stuff in stock. It just means that I'll have more cash invested in actually producing that stock. But one of the advantages is that we can now have really cool retail product packaging as well. I'm really happy with how this packaging has turned out. It looks really cool. You can see the 2 different sizes there, and they're designed so that the smaller size is approximately half the size of the larger one, and it basically is half the size when you allow for the retail tag here. So 2 of those, like that, pack into the same space as one of the larger boxes. It's turned out really well. It's got a nice glossy finish on it. The printing looks pretty good. They're all nicely produced, so the company that's done these for me has done a really good job. And the amazing thing is how little it costs. It looks like very expensive packaging because it's got this cutout in it, it's gloss finish, it's got the injection molded plastic inset, and all of this packaging, I think it costs around 70 cents, something like that, per piece, which is more than an anti-static bag. But one of the advantages is that it's also mechanical protection in shipping. So it's much better to try to put something like this into packaging for shipping than just a PCB in an anti-static bag, because with the bag, it can get compressed and abraded. With this, it's all very nicely protected. It's very strong. You can stack them up and they can take a bit of weight, and the board inside stays in good shape. So one of the first products that I've got assembled is the I/O breakout shield, and it just clips into the packaging like this, and there is some anti-static foam in the bottom. But what you can do is just pull the foam out, and then these can be used as parts trays. So if you end up with a few of these around, you can use them to put stuff into, keep it all in order on your workbench. And this is the larger size box, which also looks really cool. Easiest to open it from the bottom because of that retail hang tag. If we pop that out, same sort of deal. You can take the product out of there, and then you've got yourself some parts trays that you can use on the workbench to organise things, or you can put stuff into there, seal it back up and use it for storage. So don't just throw these away, they're actually useful. And so that's the IO Breakout Mega, which is the second product that I've now got being manufactured for me instead of having to assemble it myself. This particular board has got a whole lot of solder joints on it. I used to sit there for hours soldering these together, and I've got a 3D printed jig to align all these connectors correctly. But now I don't need to do it because I've paid for a few hundred of these to be made at a factory, and they're now ready to go. And Patron rewards. Now, my supporters on Patreon already get discount codes and early access to some content and other benefits. I've been trying to figure out other ways to reward them because it's really important to me that not just as a sign of support to help me keep going with videos, but the financial side of it is really important to me as well. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff here that has been sitting on my shelves for years. And what I'm going to do is list all of this in a special secret patron-only section of the SuperHouse online store for pretty close to giveaway prices. For example, when the Arduino R3 header revision came out a few years ago, I had hundreds of pre-R3 style prototyping boards, which are perfectly fine. It's just that they're not the R3 headers, which means they don't have the dedicated I2C and IOREF pins on them. And Arduino Mega prototyping boards, same thing. And I've got robot kits, I've got little multimeters, I've got, these are Bluetooth modules in an XB format. I produced these a few years ago because I wanted one for my own project and I thought other people would want them. I was wrong, and I don't think I've sold one of those in years. Got solderless breadboards. I've got a CNC plotter board here, which is like an Arduino with a big LCD on it, and it's got a couple of inbuilt motor drivers. So what I'm going to do is list these for my Patreon supporters and put some tiny nominal price on it, like I might put like 5 cents or 10 cents or something on prototyping shields. And the only reason for doing that is just to have it trackable through the online store, so that as a patron you'll get an email that says, here's the URL to the secret section of the SuperHouse store. You can go and buy whatever of this you want for tiny amounts. Like I might put, like $2 on one of those CNC plotter boards or something. Put $2 on a multimeter. Partly just to clear this out. I'd rather see this go to someone that can actually use it, and partly as a way of saying thank you to my patrons. Give them something super cheap. It's basically the cost of postage and not much more, and hopefully all of this stuff can end up in the hands of people that can make use of it. So, thank you very much if you're a Patreon supporter, and if you're not, details are down below. If you become a supporter, you'll get access to all of the extra content that patrons enjoy. So, I'm working on a few videos at the moment. I've got one about 2-year conversion. I'm doing one about using Zigbee to Tasmota to make your own little Zigbee gateway or Zigbee coordinator, and a few other interesting things. So stick around, hit that subscribe button. Thanks, see ya.